Hey guys, welcome to Impact. In this video, we look at an interesting development in international relation, which is interesting, surprising, and shocking in more ways than one. While we will not be looking into the whole history of Saudi Iran's relationship, what has been happening, when they have been trying, but we will focus on the implications of the so-called deal. Now, to give perspective, now, how is the general relations between these two? Now, the general relations are they both are competing powers. They both oppose each other. Now, this does not happen in their own country alone, or they fight proxy wars in all the other countries also in the Middle East. They are the two powers, major powers of the Middle East. And they have been locked in this arrangement for a very long time. So what is prompting this? Why is it that they cannot be friends and shake hands? It is that international relations, as a realist say, it is a fight for power. So looking at it, two powers who have the capacity to lead the Middle East or the Islamic world, they both are fighting each other for the power. So that is one way of looking at it. Another way is they are dominated by Sunni version of Islam, and these people, Iran, it is dominated by Shia version of Islam. Saudi is a pro-US fraction, US country, while Iran is an anti-US country. Their whole revolution was to overthrow a US induced or a puppet that was put into power by the US. So these are some of the issues over which why these two countries are competing for power. Now, rarely they both have fought against each other, especially in the last decade. Wars have been fought in Yemen, in Iraq, in Syria, in Libya, through proxies. Now, when did all these start? This recent proxy war? You must have heard about Arab Spring, which came around in 2011-12, then it spread across to different countries. This created a lot of instability. This prompted civil war. Now, these two countries took opposing positions in each country, and they are still fighting the war through their proxies. For example, in Yemen, Saudi Arabia's background, Saudi tried to install a international government, which was still being opposed by Houthis or Houthi rebels backed by Iran. So like this, they have taken opposition position elsewhere. So this is a very, very brief idea of the equations between them and what is currently happening. Again, it is a very long topic. However, we won't be going into the details of it. So what are some of the last few incidents just before this deal? Diplomatic relations have been called off. So what was the latest trigger? The last trigger was protesters stormed the Saudi embassy located in Iran. As a result of this, ultimately diplomatic relations were closed. And prior to this, a Shia clerk was put to sentence to death by Saudi. So these were the last two incidents, and diplomatic relations have been called off since then. Now, whether China has been the only mediator here or no, they both have been trying to talk. Oman has been an important player in this, but China has been able to bring them together and sign the deal. So here, this has a lot of implications. We will look at them one by one. So first implication, it indicates the rise of China. This is very, very important. Now we have seen China as a rising power, what they have been doing in South China Sea. Yes, they have been undertaking aggression, but this is an entirely new, different ball game. While China has been involved in several mediations in the Middle East, none has come out to be a very huge success as this. Now, what is the result of it at the global stage? You can see US power receding. Now, US used to be the sole broker or the hegemon in Middle East. The security architecture of the current Middle East has been designed and has been controlled by US so far. But here we can come and see, here we can see China is evolving its new global security architecture. And this deal has happened without much knowledge of US, or US has not been involved in this deal. So this shows the rise of China as a global power. China secures its oil interest. Around 40% of oil comes from this region. By through this, they have secured its region, their oil interest. Next, American hegemony breaks. Yes, we were just discussing about it. Now, just as a peace offering, what Saudi has done in return, they have placed orders for 120 airplanes to America as a result of snubbing them or ignoring them and signing this deal. So this shows the overall waning power of US in the region. A global security architecture created by US is going down. It is creating a vacuum. And China has started filling that vacuum. And this is a period of geopolitical flux. Now, what else we saw? Proxy wars has been fought: Iraq, Yemen, Syria, and Lebanon. Now, there are chances here, all of these regions, they could find some lasting peace. Maybe not immediately. It is not that suddenly just because they have signed a deal, struggle for power will be over. No. Even in Europe, where they have signed EU, where they have a single currency, where they have single monetary policy, not monetary policy, customs union, etc., even their struggle for power continues. Maybe not as aggressively. So just because with this deal, if we think the Saudi and Iran struggle is going to be over, they are going to be friends. No. However, a lot of these proxy war where there has been a stalemate, where both sides are not being able to win. So there are possibilities where a lot of changes can come in these particular countries. So this is in general about the implications of this deal across the globe. And even US has also said, if it is for peace, even we are agreeing for it. It's just a statement they have given. Now, we'll come to our part. What's important for us? India. India has been siding or taking with US in a lot of questions in the Middle East. One recent example is Iran. Because of the sanctions, even though we did evolve certain mechanisms for purchasing oil and other things, ultimately we were not able to do it at a scale at which we are currently doing in Russia. These mechanisms all failed. Our relations with Iran deteriorated. That is, we did not, take up such a stand as how we are doing it with Russia. And then all our political moves, for example, Israel, India, UAE, US, this grouping, or called the Middle Eastern Quad, this grouping was essentially anti-Iran, or it had a very anti-Iranian bias. So we have been undertaking all these maneuvers. Now, out of the blue, this deal has come up, and the beauty is it has been brokered by China. Now, all our equations will be, so far, the moves that we have made, it puts a big question mark on how we are going to calibrate our moves. More than China, we are dependent on the Middle East for energy. If Chinese are securing their interest, can they hurt us in the long term for our own energy security? That is another question mark. So here, only 1 week after the deal was signed, we have issued a statement saying if we support peace and development in the region. So it shows where our response stands. So it will be interesting to see how India maneuvers this landscape in the future. While Iran has currently said we welcome relations with India, but how we maneuver is up to us. From a point of energy security, trade, this region is quite important to us. Now, however, it is not that all these things are negative. There are a lot of positive developments also. For example, if there is peace here, oil prices will go down, trade will increase. We have a huge diaspora there. There's more and more diaspora people can move to these countries for employment, for work. They can send money back. They can improve their livelihood and financial conditions. In general, when all these regions peace is happening, it is beneficial for not only for India but for the globe also. So there are beneficiaries. However, some questions also remain. There was already a talking of Saudi, Russia, China grouping. Now, whether it will become Saudi, Russia, China, Iran grouping also, then how will we secure our oil interest? So these questions remain. What will be China's influence in the region? How will we maneuver? How will we ensure our oil security? So these questions or these concerns do remain. It will be interesting to see how we are going to maneuver these moves. So it's a very interesting development that has happened. While it has many positive, there has been some concerns that are being raised because of this move from a Chinese standpoint of view, India-China standpoint of view. So that's all for this video, guys. It'll be interesting to see how India will be maneuvering this in the future. So we'll be discussing more in the upcoming videos. Thank you.